All right, welcome back to the Megacast. We are so happy today to be on 88.1 The Biff from Bloomfield Hills Schools, and we thank the whole crew there at Bloomfield Hills Schools. We also are on 89.3 Lakes FM in West Bloomfield, Civic Center TV Channel 15, Civic Center TV Channel 99, and if you want to watch online, it's really easy. Just go to civiccentertv.com, and you will see the video player in the upper right-hand corner of the page, and just click on that, and you can see everything that's going on in our studios. We wanted to have him on via Zoom. We put a lot of work into it, but the internet is just not doing very well today. So we're so glad to have him on the phone. Joining us now, the new superintendent of schools at Bloomfield Hills, Pat Watson. Good morning, sir.
Morning. How are you?
We're doing pretty good. To be honest, it's a little crazy. Obviously, what am I to complain about? I can't get Zoom to work. You've got an entire school district, your school district that's kind of brand new to you, and you're dealing with it in a crisis situation, but we're all getting through. How you doing, Pat? How's it going?
Doing well. It's been an interesting couple months. I came in with the idea that, great, I'll have a 90-day plan. I can meet a lot of new people. Have the ability to reconnect with dozens upon dozens of former students that either now work in Bloomfield Hills School District or live here and have children. And then it's kind of changed a little bit, but that's okay. I'm up for the challenge.
Well, I know you are, and for those of us that know you so well and the amazing, and I mean amazing job that you did as a principal at West Bloomfield High School, we're also very happy that you're in this new role in Bloomfield Hills. And let me tell you, folks in Bloomfield Hills, you have an incredible new superintendent. And Pat Watson, I know you're up to the job as we go through these extremely challenging times. So good luck. First of all, we're really glad we're on the Biff today. That worked out really well. That was kind of a last-minute impromptu thing, but good to get the word out there a little bit more. And tell us how things are going for your students. What are you doing to stay connected with your students while the buildings are closed?
That's a good question. So we've done a couple multiple different things. I know for me personally, being new, I wanted to be able to reach out to all the students. So working with the TV production studio, we came up with this idea, where in the world is Watson? And so I've done some virtual travels. I know.
I'm great. Where you can, I love it. See, that's what's so great about you. You can take a crisis and find out a way to make it, a little bit easier to swallow.
So trying to. So we've done, 5, 7 episodes of that show, and then at the end there's a chance to win some swag and things like that. And then last week I piloted something a little bit different. Using some different tools, I was able to kind of do a K-5 program. And the K-5 program started with just almost like a mini lesson followed by kind of like a mission for the day. So one mission was to write a letter to your future self about how you're being kind to others during this time of the pandemic. Another mission was to save the animals from planet Zork and create a spaceship and do that. Another one shared the 3 little pigs. We all know the story very well. And then the mission that day was to create your future house and what would be in it. And then last week on Friday, I left them with the last mission, which was to create a vision board for your future. And so we kind of done that. With our teachers, we've kind of tried to allow our parents to get some sense of normalcy. And during the past 2 weeks, we've really reached out to districts, not just locally, but on the national level, to kind of benchmark what are the best practices with online and e-learning. And coming back after spring break next week, we feel we have something that's on par, if not better, than any other school in the country with what we're going to be doing online.
Well, I mean, the online experience that you and your superintendents and in the neighboring communities that we serve have put together has been nothing short of miraculous. I mean, and the speed at which you were all able to react and get these assets online it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's been really interesting, the quick shift that's had to take place. And, it's also been interesting to see what other states are doing. Illinois I found to be really interesting. Their Department of Education a couple years ago gave them permission to have, I think it's 5 virtual learning days per year at the school's discretion. So think of, state of Michigan, we might have a snow day, we might have a snow day. If we had the ability to say, you know what, the weather forecast looks like it could be challenging for tomorrow, so it's 3 p.m., we're going to have a virtual learning day tomorrow, everyone stay home, and here's what you'll do. So in the state of Illinois, they've been able to plan for that the past couple of years, which has put them further ahead than the state of Michigan when it comes to virtual learning. And the other thing that I've noticed out of the state of Illinois is that the Department of Education has provided some really clear guidance about how days count, what you can do, what you can't do, and what continuing instruction should look like. So I found that to be really interesting as well.
Yeah, well, we hope we come out of all this with some new skill sets, new opportunities, and that we learn some new things that we were just forced into doing through the coronavirus. But talking about eligibility and if all this is going to count, debate certainly going on in Lansing. The governor said that's something that she can't just put paper to pen on. She's got to get cooperation from the legislature. And I think when the schools are closed around the state of Michigan, everyone was thinking, well, maybe we'd be out of this very soon, but it looks like that may not be the case as we continue to see the number of coronavirus cases in the state continue to climb. So, two questions. A, do you have any thoughts about when school might reopen or if it will reopen, and your thoughts on where we are with regard to getting accreditation for students for the work they're doing right now?
Sure. Our expectation and the way we're planning is school's done for the year as far as brick and mortar school. So our whole focus this past 2 weeks has been when we get back from spring break, and our spring break is next week, what plan can we have in place that really continues learning for our students and moves them forward? And so that's been our focus. If we happen to go back at the end of April or mid-May, that would be great. But we can't plan for that because then we'll be behind, and we don't want to be behind. As far as students moving forward, obviously the legislators need to make that decision. I don't see any way in the realm of possibility students couldn't move forward. I mean, sorry, you were going to graduate this year, you're not going to graduate, and if you're in kindergarten, you're not moving forward. I mean, everyone's just frozen for a year. So let's be honest, we all know that everyone's going to move forward, the seniors are going to graduate, and then the other thing we're really focused on is when we do come back to school next year in the fall, if we have students that have gaps in knowledge, what are we going to do to make sure we bring all of our students, if they're already up to speed, so that they're not academically behind their peers? And so that's been a big topic of conversation as well.
Yeah, and Pat Watson, Superintendent of the Bloomfield Hills Schools, thank you for your honesty with the people, because you just said that school is done for the year, likely in a brick-and-mortar standpoint. I think we all get that. And I think even though the legislature hasn't passed anything, there's no way that our lawmakers in Lansing are going to take senior accreditation away from seniors as they're getting ready to hopefully go to Michigan State, or who knows where next year. It just doesn't seem realistic, but it's not been certified yet. It's not been guaranteed yet. But I appreciate your your candor in both of those subjects.
Yeah, well, it's not been guaranteed. I mean, think about this. What other decision can be made? And I don't know why it's taking this long, but what other decision can be made? We're just going to freeze everyone where they're at, so everyone has to do a full school year again next year? Or do they just come back for 2 months and then they go on to whatever grade and everyone matriculates? I mean, to me, it's just common sense. Somebody needs to be in charge. Somebody needs to make a decision and then move on. So I'm looking forward and hopeful that will happen sometime soon. But as I always told people, even in my former district, hope is not a plan. And so I know right now, hope isn't something we're using. We're simply planning. School's going to be out. How do we move kids forward? What are the top districts? What are they doing online nationally? How can we mimic that, leverage what we have, and then be a step above everyone else? And we firmly believe that our plan that we're rolling out after spring break meets all those needs, not just locally, but on a national level as well.
Again, well said. Hope is not a plan. No, you're right. You're right. We need to we need to have a strategy to move forward. I know your strategy in Bloomfield Hills, as it is in the other school districts, has to extend beyond learning. There are a lot of people suffering. If things weren't handled the way they are, there could be a lot of students with nothing to do, free time in their hands, and getting into trouble. And then there are also people in every community, even the wealthiest communities in the state, that need help with food. How are you addressing those issues?
So our food service has done a phenomenal job. And so as part of the government program and then what we've agreed to within Oakland County is, we're using our high school as kind of the main point to give out, the meals during the day. You don't need to be a student of Bloomfield Hills School District. You can be from anywhere. No one's checking ID. If you simply come up and need food, you're able to get food. And I know that's been a really, really important part, and especially since Detroit had to shut down for, some time because they were having some concerns. So we've actually had families that have traveled down Telegraph to come and get food here to make sure that they're able to feed their families. So I'm really, you talk about the people on the front lines, whether it's our doctors, our nurses, our food service employees are right there. They're coming in every single day to make sure that families who need food can be fed. And I think that's just awesome.
Yeah, I think it is awesome. And, and we saw over the weekend a lot of people in the communities coming out to hospitals and other areas in their cars, driving by at shift changes to salute the workers and the efforts of our healthcare workers. And I don't know that that's compliant under our current ruling from the governor, but people did it anyway. And whether it was compliant or not, it certainly was, moved me, and I'm sure it moved a lot of other people that saw it over the weekend. And I know, even though we can't come out and give everybody a hug right now, that I hope you feel, and the folks that are working through this feel the virtual hug that we're all getting, because we are in this thing together, and it's hard. So, and how is the staff that is coming in? How are they doing? And, is it tough for them? I'm sure it is. How are they coping?
Everyone's doing as best as possible. We're really trying to have staff work from home as much as possible. I know in the main office building is myself and one other person that comes in every day. Occasionally somebody else will pop in if they need to get something, but people need to listen to the governor. People need to stay at home. I know even in my own house, my kids are getting anxious. My son, who's 23, wants to see his girlfriend. And I'm like, well, that's why they invented FaceTime for things like this. But she's not coming over, my friend. And you're not leaving. You're on lockdown as well.
How's everything? No, go ahead. I was just going to ask, how's everything at the Watson house? How are you doing, your family? I could just tell you, and I am fortunate enough to be able to get out and come to the studio every day, and there's only 2 or 3 of us here to make this all happen. But how are you guys doing, and how does this feel now that we're several days into it?
For me, on a personal level, I don't know if it's really sunk in. I'm really focused on making sure my family's safe, they're taken care of, and then that our students and parents in this community get what they need to move forward educationally. So, to be honest, I haven't had a lot of time to really reflect on what's going on nationally. For me, that will come at a different time when things have maybe settled down, if they ever settle down. But I've always been someone that's been told you focus on the task at hand. And the task at hand is my family okay? Yes, okay. How can I best serve our students in our community to move forward learning so that the parents have some relief at home and our students continue to learn? Because learning, so often education we think, assignments plus grades equal learning. And that's not really true. Learning for the sake of learning is something that gets lost along the way. You think back to early elementary school. We don't give grades to students, and they're anxious to come to school. And they learn, and they want to impress their teacher and work hard. And they get a satisfactory, and they don't even look at the report card. We lose some of that as we move forward. And so we're trying to gain that back. And one way to do that is you don't just give students something to complete. You give them something to create. You don't just have questions that they simply answer. You have questions that they actually have to reflect upon and do something with. And so we're really looking at the instructional piece and doing that a little bit different as we move forward as well.
All right, Pat Watson is with us. He is the new superintendent of schools in Bloomfield Hills. I'm Dave Scott. Tyler Keefe in the studio. He's really working hard. He's not getting a word in edgewise here because he's working so hard keeping the show running. So I thank him for his fine work over there. Joining us in a couple of minutes, Greg Flynn, the West Bloomfield Fire Chief, and Mike Moran, the Bloomfield Township Fire Chief. We'll talk about how the county has set up regions to help respond to what is going on right now with the coronavirus. Pat Watson, you just left the role as principal at West Bloomfield High School. Eric Pace has now been announced as the new principal. I thought I'd give you an opportunity to congratulate him on the air.
Oh, absolutely. I was excited to hear that Mr. Pace was going to be the new principal. He's great. His relationships to students are second to none. He's also, a lot of people don't know, extremely innovative. He likes to think outside the box. And, we kind of all have the same mantra, which is, find a way or make a way. And the idea is you start with yes. And once you start with the word yes, you can usually figure out what needs to happen. And the other thing we always talked about is in education, we need to move from yes, but to simply that word again, yes. So often we're presented with a new challenge and you hear someone speak and you go, Dave, I hear what you're saying, yes, but, and then what follows after. Instead of, Dave, I hear what you're saying, yes, we can do that. We can find a way or we can make a way. And that's something that that type of forward thinking is something I want to bring to Bloomfield Hills as well as we move forward in this process.
I know you will. Yes and, not yes but, or just yes. So I get it. It's hard. I mean, it's so easy to say yes but. I mean, it really is. So I appreciate that. So you are talking to Ken in Walled Lake and Dr. Hill in West Bloomfield, and I'm sure they're talking to you. We have 3 superintendents right here in our service area that all know each other very well. I assume you guys are going to be keeping in touch and sharing notes.
We are, but I've really, besides my base that I have here, I've really reached out to people I know. I've been fortunate enough to meet over the years nationally and really get some great information from them. Like earlier this morning, I was on a WebEx meeting with the school district in Florida, Collier. I've had several conversations with Shonda DeMarco, who's a superintendent in New Jersey, and Tenafly, one of the top districts in the country. And just reaching out to people on a national level. I talked to so many people in Illinois, I almost feel like I live there now. And just seeing what people are doing on a national level, because as we're looking to roll out our new program, like I said, after spring break, we wanted to benchmark it against some of those that are the best in the country to see, are we really hitting the mark? Are we going to fall short? Or are we kind of exceeding where they're at? And in every case, we're either hitting the mark or exceeding what other national, well-recognized schools are doing. So I'm really excited to roll that out after spring break. Our spring break is next week. And I know for a lot of parents, they're camping in their backyard, at least that's their plan, or, they're traveling they have a place up north. And I know some have rented an RV and are, going to travel around and simply stay in the RV, but do something different during this pandemic.
Well, we wish all of them safety, and we know that people will use good judgment as they do that. And I'm really glad to hear that you're reaching out across the country. The communities you're talking about, Illinois, certainly the East Coast, Florida, South Florida in particular, and now, unfortunately, Detroit and Oakland County. We are on the front line of the coronavirus. We got to scoot along, Pat Watson. Anything you want to wrap up with, though, just any thoughts that you have that might be useful for the community at large?
I would say as you interact with people, remember well before this pandemic that every person you meet has a struggle that you don't know about, something they're dealing with you don't know about. So as much as possible, this is the time really to find and dig deep and make sure that even though we're all stressed out, we're all frustrated, we all have now additional struggles and additional norms, that you treat everyone with dignity and respect. To me, that is a cornerstone of everything you should be doing. That's my opinion.
Well said, Pat Watson. Listen, next time we'll get the internet to work better. We want to keep in touch because I really I like your words. There's no we like having you on, and in addition to that, I just think that communication is so important, especially now while we're all disconnected. And I think that communication locally in our own local communities is a really great place to start. That's why we're here at work today, and I appreciate all your support, and in particular the support of having your radio station with us and a whole lot more. Good to talk to you, and best of health to you and your family. And again, we will be keeping you on our short list and likely chatting with you again real soon.
Sounds good. Take care, my friend.
Thank you very much. Pat Watson, the super, and I hit the wrong control. All these years in broadcasting, and I hit the wrong control. Pat Watson, the superintendent of schools in Bloomfield Hills, new superintendent, former principal at West Bloomfield High School. Man, that guy's going to do a great job there, and it's inspiring, Tyler Keefe, to hear from him this morning.